The Georgia General Assembly is one of the largest state legislatures in the country, consisting of the House and the Senate. For the next 40 days, lawmakers will gather inside the state capitol here in Atlanta, discussing a host of issues, everything from education to environment to entertainment. Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter is still recovering here at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta after undergoing surgery Tuesday morning. Doctors call the condition subdural hematoma. That's when a pool of blood forms between the brain and the outermost layer. The Carter Center says there were no complications from that surgery. The latest COVID-19 wave is hitting one local school district hard. Tolliver County schools are now closed. The principal has a plea for the community. After months of investigation, the Georgia Department of Public Safety as well as Georgia State Patrol dismissed its entire class that graduated from the 106th Trooper School Wednesday morning. All of this, commissioners say, because of an online cheating scandal. What started out as a peaceful protest at Centennial Olympic Park on Friday in downtown Atlanta quickly escalated into violence and looting. People vandalizing the CNN sign, breaking windows at restaurants, shattering glass, and spray painting walls here in the downtown Atlanta area. Yeah, good evening, Brad and Jenny. In fact, within the last 2 hours, we just got that information. In fact, one of the biggest donations coming directly to Augusta University's telehealth app, in fact. Phil, that's right. Air Force One just departed about 15 minutes ago here from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And during President Trump's visit, he emphasized removing this outdated law, this 50-year-old law that makes it very difficult to manage permits. All right, thanks for clarifying. I got a little scared. Okay. I was like, what's going on?
What are we saying?
Well, the next Summer Games, before you blink, you know, you're only going to be 3 years away because we skipped it last year, so not the usual 4. So Andrew Martin has a preview of Paris 2024. What started out as a peaceful protest at Centennial Olympic Park on Friday in downtown Atlanta quickly escalated into violence and looting. People vandalizing the CNN sign, breaking windows at restaurants, shattering glass, and spray painting walls here in the downtown Atlanta area.
I'm angry at my own people, but I'm more so angry at the system. I'm not angry because of the little mess that happens out here.
This is not a protest. This is not in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is chaos.
Police cars burned, signs vandalized, stores damaged.
You are disgracing our city. You are disgracing the life of George Floyd and every other person who has been killed in this country.
If I was there, instead of recording, I would have jumped on one of the cops myself. If I had to die with Floyd that day, I would have died.
Emotions visibly running high. Small groups gathering like the ones behind me, holding up signs saying, "I can't breathe," pushing for an end to racism and calling for swift justice.
It hurts to see my city broken like this. However, the other half of me is like, burn it down. We're tired of being silent, unheard.
Protesters frustrated, leaders outraged, cities damaged.
Go home. Go home.
Enough is enough and we're tired.
I'm angry because it keeps happening, and it keeps happening. And my 6-year-old son and my 5-year-old son, they're gonna have to grow up and deal with this one day because they're little black boys. And if I have to make a voice for them today, I'm gonna do it.
The protest didn't just end here in downtown Atlanta Friday night. It went well past midnight as looters and rioters headed to Buckhead, stealing things from stores and burning buildings. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms says this is not the way to protest. Instead, if people want to have change, encourage voters to head to the polls in June and November. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp declaring Fulton County a state of emergency for 72 hours, which would then allow him to deploy the National Guard to make any arrests. Reporting in downtown Atlanta, Archith Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief. He was known as the boy from Troy, John Robert Lewis. After a 6-day tour where he was honored in Alabama, Washington, D.C., Lewis's body now here at the state capitol in downtown Atlanta. The casket passed through several iconic Atlanta landmarks, driving through John Lewis Freedom Parkway, which was renamed in his honor just a few years back, outside Martin Luther King's home, as well as the hero John Lewis Memorial in the Sweet Auburn district. Lewis was a champion of civil rights, fighting for equality and justice, sitting in at white lunch counters, leading demonstrators peacefully across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, playing an integral part for the Voting Rights Act. He devoted his whole life to bringing justice, not for one person, but for an entire community. creating an America for all. Many people that we spoke to today say they honor Lewis because he represented courage, he represented equality, and he represented justice.
John Lewis is the biggest icon next to Dr. King. He has taken the bumps and bruises that we don't have the courage to take.
No matter our age, we need to stand up and fight for what we believe in, which he did throughout his life, whether he was, 24 years old like me or even into, his final days as a congressman.
Lewis's body will be taken to Ebenezer Baptist Church on Thursday, where the celebration of life services will continue, and he'll be laid to rest. Reporting outside the Georgia State Capitol, Archith Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief. For the third night in a row, Atlanta will have another curfew at 9 p.m. to end some of the violence that's been taking place with the protests in downtown Atlanta. And during the day, it's a much different scene. We see people holding up signs, chanting, "Police the police," no justice, no peace, and also putting hands up, don't shoot. Protesters making their way all the way from City Hall down here on Memorial. There's a huge police presence.
They have us surrounded on all four sides. We can't leave.
Now we're blocked off from everywhere. I don't know where we're supposed to go.
This is Aaron Romano's second peaceful protest since Friday.
They don't want us to move. They're telling us as soon as we hit the street, we'll be arrested.
My friend was wrongfully arrested for no reason. He told us to get out of the street. We were moving out of the street, and for some reason, the officer decides to hit him, and now he's going to jail.
Romano says the police are escalating the violence.
They are inciting us to riot. They want us to riot. They want to get a reaction out of us.
Atlanta police arrested around 55 people Monday, some for blocking streets, others for marching towards the interstate.
There was no issue. He told us to get out of the street. We started moving out of the street. Now my friend is going to jail.
What started out as a peaceful protest in City Hall just a short while ago quickly escalated, with police blocking off many of the protesters who say they were out here peacefully marching. Now the police and the National Guard are walking through several streets in downtown Atlanta right behind the Capitol, and we're seeing a noticeable shift, a difference in the way police are arresting many people. Those protesters simply asking the question, why?
I was walking across this crosswalk with everyone else, and I was arrested with everyone else for no reason.
It's injustice at its finest. They have so many cops. They have National Guard out here. And we don't have weapons. We don't have guns. We just have signs. We just have our voices.
This weekend, the city's police chief fired 2 Atlanta officers for using excessive force on 2 college students after they smashed their car windows and tased them.
Stand with us. They should be as outraged as we are. Stand with us.
Reporting in Atlanta, Archith Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief. This is not the first time a hate crime bill has been introduced into the Georgia legislature. Around 20 years ago, a similar hate crime bill was introduced, but the Georgia Supreme Court deemed that unconstitutional, saying the verbiage was too vague. Georgia is one of 4 states around the country without a hate crime law. The others include South Carolina, Arkansas, and Wyoming. A new solution to an old problem.
Hate now is taken seriously in Georgia, so the key is starting to deter that kind of activity.
A historic moment for Georgia after state lawmakers approve a hate crime bill.
All Georgians win because we're really all part of these. We all have race and sex, sexual orientation, so people of Georgia, families of Georgia are the winners here.
The move coming after recent race-related protests.
It was huge. The protests were huge. Unfortunately, the tragic deaths that occurred played a role in actually moving this forward.
Georgia lawmakers say another key component of this hate crime bill is that it allows investigators to monitor the data throughout the state of Georgia. So that means if they see a pattern or an emerging hotspot, they're able to address it in that specific region of the state before it becomes out of hand.
Are mostly racial hate crimes in the Atlanta area or in the Augusta area? Hate crimes maybe with sexual orientation, are they concentrated in one place?
I do think this is going to help move us in the right direction and making Georgia a much safer place to live and making it a more comfortable place to live for those individuals who in the past may not have felt as comfortable as a lot of Georgians have.
The hate crime bill means tougher penalties for violators of racially motivated attacks. Reporting at the Georgia State Capitol, Archith Seshadri. After months of investigation, the Georgia Department of Public Safety as well as Georgia State Patrol dismissed its entire class that graduated from the 106th Trooper School Wednesday morning. All of this, commissioners say, because of an online cheating scandal. It all happened back in October when one of the cadets' girlfriend took a test online for the speed detection course. That's when she blew the whistle, and that cadet said it wasn't just me, it was the entire class. And as a result of the investigation, every single member of that cadet class now out of a job. Georgia State Patrol's job is to make sure they help police as well as the sheriff's office catch distracted drivers, speeders, those under the influence of alcohol, and help local law enforcement agencies. There are more than 800 troops across Georgia, including Augusta, Savannah, and Columbus. And now those troops will have to reallocate and shuffle resources because of these latest firings.
The impact on average can be 3 or 4 troopers per region. When you look at the size of the region, for instance, Troop I on the coast, that's pretty much the whole coastal 100 plus miles and then inland. And so, you take 3 or 4 troopers, 4 or 5 troopers off the road, and you see the distance of the interstate, their not being there can have an impact.
The commissioner says this could be at least a $50,000 taxpayer dollar waste because of this cheating scandal. And going forward, they're going to be going back to the old school of testing, making sure that there is a classroom and a proctor to make sure there is no online cheating scandals going forward. Reporting in Atlanta, the Department of Public Safety, Archith Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief.